What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. This week, I got a chance to see Avatar: The Way of Water with my buddy, and I gotta say, it's the movie I didn't really feel like I needed, but really enjoyed. So, of course, the collector side of me saw the Mcfarlane toys, Jake, Sully, and Neytiri out in the lobby, and I just had to buy it. Can you blame me? Let's be honest. Would you have done the same thing? Maybe, but I'm going to unbox these figures because I'm really excited to think about the film and look at the toys. But if you guys like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get into it. So welcome back. Today we've got the Jake, Sully, and Neytiri from Avatar. Now I gotta say, I'm a little surprised by these figures just initially. I thought we would see more Avatar: The Way of Water merchandising in terms of the packaging, but this still very much screams the first film to me, so I'm interested to see what you guys think. Are we going to get an updated version of Neytiri and Jake, Sully in these figure formats from Mcfarlane Toys? Or will this be the only ones they give us? I have seen that they've given us a couple of the other characters with some of that Way of the Water packaging. So it's interesting. I'm curious. I like the way this looks though, and these figures are pretty tall. Now naturally, the Na'vi are quite tall in comparison to a human, but I really like some of the attention to detail that Mcfarlane has given us. So for example, I didn't know, or at least I missed the detail in the first film, that avatars have 5 fingers, like their human counterparts, whereas the Na'vi actually have 4. And that's highlighted quite a bit more in The Way of Water. But these figures have that going for them. They have the 4 fingers and toes for Neytiri here, and Jake Sully has those 5 fingers. Now, I think the likeness to the CGI character, of course, is actually pretty strong. I think it looks really good. Neytiri is easily one of my favorite characters in both Avatar 1 and Avatar 2, and so I really wanted her. Jake Sully was kind of a bonus that I found at Walmart after the fact. Now, the articulation here is pretty standard when it comes to Mcfarlane toys. We get the head swivel, we get the bends at the elbows. You know, the splits here are pretty unsightly if you look underneath the cloth there, and some of the joints around the knees and the ankles, again, a little bit unsightly, not gonna lie. But that is kind of what you get for figures in this price point, of course. I like that there's some toe articulation there. I think that's pretty cool. But because these figures are so tall and skinny, I honestly don't think that they're going to stand very well by themselves, at least not without a figure base. Now, Jake Sully here, when you pull him back, you actually see a pretty noticeable gap under the cloth surrounding his ribcage, but his articulation is virtually the same otherwise. And again, you see 5 toes there. Very good attention to detail, Mcfarlane Toys. I will give them credit on that one. Now, Jake Sully in the new film actually has a different hairstyle. So that's kind of why I'm hoping that we actually see a Way of the Water figure lineup. This seems almost like these were the figures maybe originally for the Avatar film, and we're getting them now. I'm not really sure. You guys let me know in the chat below. Did these exact figures come out when the original Avatar came out? Or did we get something a little different? Now, I do think that in terms of the way that they've got the skin texture, what almost looks like tattooing on the skin can be done really well in this scale. I'm wondering how Hot Toys will do it. They've teased a Jake Sully figure, but that Jake Sully has jointed arms and jointed legs, similar to what we're seeing here with the Mcfarlane toys. And if I'm gonna go joints, honestly, I kind of would rather have it with the Mcfarlane. For Hot Toys, I'd rather see it as seamless. However, I know that seamless bodies on Hot Toys or 6-scale figures often wear very badly. And so I think if you have the right posing in mind, if you can kind of get around that with some jointed elbows and jointed legs, I think you can still find some really magical poses. Like this, I see Neytiri kind of running through the forest, along the trees, with Jake Sully, more from the first film, again, because of course the second film, The Way of Water, is surrounded by water. They're not running through the trees as much there. But she still has a very, I want to say, stoic feel to the character, even in this scale. And I'm digging it. Now, she doesn't come with a lot of items, neither does Jake Sully. They basically come with about the same thing. A couple of hands and a couple of bows. But that's about it. I do like that they've made Neytiri's bow relatively accurate to the figure or to the character herself from the film. But that's about it. You see the daggers, you see the two different bows here, and of course you see the hands. Nothing that's really a huge standout for me, other than the fact that the bows, again, are different, and I can appreciate that. The wraps on them are a little bit different. I would have liked to see the arrow actually be separated from the bow, though, because I think it would be a really, really cool pose to see Neytiri or even Jake Sully pulling back on the bow and having that arrow kind of pointed out in front. I think that would look really cool. Seems like a bit of a missed opportunity, but again, you get what you pay for in this lineup. These figures, Canadian prices, came in at about $30 a piece, which American pricing would probably be in the $21 to $22 range, so not terrible. And I like that Mcfarlane always has the film representation of the character ready for you right away. You go see a movie and you want to walk out with a piece of that film, Mcfarlane Toys will give that to you. Whereas Hot Toys, one of my favorite toy companies of all time, we might not see these figures for what, 2 years? 3 years? Like, we're already going to be on to Avatar 3 by the time we get a Jake Sully or a Neytiri, and I'm really hoping for that Neytiri. Now you can see that I've actually used the figure base here, and look at the 4 toes, by the way. That's, again, I'm blown away by that detail. I apologize, I'm really stuck on it. But I like that you have to use the base for these figures because it really does give them kind of a platform to stand on, even though I don't typically display figures with bases. But that's kind of the pose that I wanted to kind of go with for Neytiri for the most part in my display. Now again, I would have liked to see that arrow kind of pulled back on the bow, but you get the idea. She even actually has a trigger pulling hand. It's really more of like a bowstring hand. I shouldn't really call it a trigger. But I do think that's, again, a really great inclusion for the figure. Jake Sully, I actually had a harder time posing. For whatever reason, I feel like Neytiri has better character poses. I don't know, there's something about her. She's a lot more magical in my mind. The Jake Sully is okay. I think the likeness to the actor, with the CGI likeness, of course, is pretty solid. But I see the likeness better on the Neytiri figure than the Jake Sully. Now, moving forward in my collection, this is likely how these two will stand together, and I'm pretty happy with it. But I would love to hear from you guys down below. Are you excited about the Mcfarlane Toys offering here? Also, what about the Banshee? I mean, would you display the Banshee with these figures? I might, honestly. It's pretty cool looking. They even have Miles, though, let's be honest. Again, from the first film, for sure. But then even the tribe leader here for the Way of Water. I think the line has a lot of potential. Who would you like to see otherwise from the films? I'd love to hear from you down below. But if you liked the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next figure review. Thanks for watching.